The training presentation contained herein constitutes the intellectual property of the Australia-New Zealand Institute Proprietary Limited, ANZ Institute, New South Wales. No part of this presentation materials in words, figures or design, shall be duplicated or used for training purposes without the expressed and written permission of the ANZ Institute or its legally authorized users. Any unauthorized or illegal use of this and any infringement by any company, individual, financial institution or training provider would render that party liable to damages and legal action by the ANZ Institute at any time. Australia-New Zealand Institute, New South Wales.
Welcome to our Entrepreneurship Skills Development Program. We all live in interesting times, and the time has come for many of us to self-reflect and learn new things for the unprecedented times ahead. The world has been changing very quickly in the past 30 years, and more changes are in store. Many of us know that the economic world is becoming more uncertain with each passing day, and one day we have to live on our own. Many of us have grown accustomed to a life of employment with big companies and the government sector. New technologies, global competition, and environmental disasters are becoming frequent enough to remind us that lifelong employment is no longer guaranteed. For this reason, we welcome you to this program, as you have undoubtedly discovered that employment is no longer secure. We hope this program will provide you with some insights and a foundation to make your new life employment free. Welcome and best wishes. Before it all happens, it is important and useful to look at things before you decide on entrepreneurship. This will facilitate a mental reset. The state of the world. The new world we are now in is different from the one of the 1970s. The world population now is huge and growing. Every country wants to export its products and to produce its own cars. It is a competitive world, so every supplier tries to price down its production. Better and efficient ways of doing business are used to bring down costs, and the adoption of robotics, computer software, and artificial intelligence is for that purpose. That increases unemployment, redundancy, and falling income of workers. Competition then drives nations to war over markets and supplies, while crowded population increases the speed of the spread and intensity of disease and infection. Job security and a career because of education is now not a guarantee. Companies may close, new technologies may displace existing jobs, while war and disease cause economies to decline with people out of work. Job security is no longer a certainty. Self-employment and independence. Many people in our modern society have been conditioned to look for work with salaries to be paid for by an employer, whether it is a small company or a big multinational corporation. The model routine of modern life is all about growing up at school, then attend university or college, secure a job with a great employer, work hard to keep the job and build a career, and retire at 55 years old with a pension after 30 years working. The employers of the new world, however, do not see this anymore. They just want people who can work and contribute to profit. The business environment also changes very quickly, forcing employers to respond, sometimes by reducing staff or adopting new technologies to lower costs. Self-employment and independence. Many people in our modern society have been conditioned to look for work with salaries to be paid for by an employer, whether it is a small company or a big multinational corporation. The model routine of modern life is all about growing up at school, then attend university or college, secure a job with a great employer, work hard to keep the job and build a career, and retire at 55 years old with a pension after 30 years working. The employers of the new world, however, do not see this anymore. They just want people who can work and contribute to profit. The business environment also changes very quickly, forcing employers to respond, sometimes by reducing staff or adopting new technologies to lower costs. A personal mental reset. We suggest a personal mental reset before the next step. The following are some life-changing quotes from people of wisdom, and perhaps you would choose any three that you believe are those most meaningful ones. Perhaps also, you would want them to be part of your life as an entrepreneur. 1. Attitude is everything. 2. The only disability in life is a bad attitude. 3. What other think of me is not my business. 4. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. 5. Everything is hard before it becomes easy. 6. You fail only when you stop trying. 7. If you don't try, you will never fail. 8. Failure is the mother of success. 9. You are the only person in the world who can use your ability. And 10. You cannot find willpower, you have to build it. Adopting a wide view. An entrepreneur usually possesses a bird's eye view of things. With this view, the person sees and thinks beyond, and imagines possibilities over the horizon. Some people don't have this as yet. This is a key aspect to successful entrepreneurship. It covers curiosity and interest, awareness of the surrounding, and creative thinking. Curiosity is important as part of the gathering of information and knowledge, and learning is an outcome of curiosity. Awareness of events and people around connects the entrepreneur. Creativity is the simple ability to see possibilities. These possibilities may be solutions to problems or new innovation. However, lack of these three can be remedied by an attitude change. Knowing yourself. We suggest that you take a little time to know yourself better, particularly in view of self-employment. Firstly, your willingness, which is an attitude. It covers your beliefs and motivation. Nothing will happen if there is no will. Next, consider your readiness, in terms of knowledge and learning, and personal preparation. Remember, nothing will start if you are not ready. Personal analysis. Here are some characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. Dare to imagine big, dare to hope, and dare to go where no one goes. Willing to learn new things, willing to listen and explore, and willing to sacrifice. Prepared to change, prepared to accept failure, and prepared for a long battle. Self-assessment. Strengths. Some of these are common: adventurous, analytical mindset, critical thinker, creative thinker, interactive, knowledgeable, natural leadership, patience, problem-solving person, resourceful, risk-taker, talkative. Arising from childhood experiences, education, work life, and practices, they're things that you may do well, for example, babysitting and childcare, beauty and cosmetics, cooking special cuisine, computer programming, designing, electrical repairs and maintenance ability, flower arrangements, gardening. Language learning and teaching, online games, teaching of mathematics, or wine tasting. Your personal abilities. Personal knowledge. Consider some of these: agriculture and farming, animals and animal breeding, accounting and finance, health and hygiene, herbs and vegetables, languages, local history and environment, jungle plants, security and safety, and school subjects. Personal abilities. You may have some skills in some of these: art and painting, baking and cooking, childcare, computer programming, dressmaking, driving heavy vehicles, gardening and landscaping, massaging and chiropractic, repairs of electrical equipment, motorcycles, teaching, tell jokes and stories, woodworking, online gaming. Abilities of people around you. Sometimes a person may have limited knowledge or skills. This can be overcome by looking around. The first set of possible help, knowledge or resource are family members, the next set are friends and neighbors and workplace colleagues, the final set are people in the community, but not everyone in your circles will be helpful, although there is no harm exploring. Increase your capabilities. One person may always lack something, but by teaming up with another person, it increases knowledge, skills, and confidence. It is not necessarily about money. Linking and connecting with others increases the chances of success, and it also provides strong motivation. Matching opportunities with your skills and abilities. Finally, it is all about matching your capabilities with the opportunities around you. Matching opportunities with your skills and abilities. Finally, it is all about matching your capabilities with the opportunities around you.
Understanding general business. In this second segment, you will get to understand the business environment. Identifying business opportunities. Making people happy is an opportunity. Do you like to make people happy? Such as with good food, music, and healthy life? Any special ideas? Remember, human happiness has no limit, and it is about making happy things happen. Next, it is also about solving people's problems. What are the problems people face every day? There are many, such as sending kids to school during rush hours, and repair and maintenance of cars. Any special abilities required? This may be skills for solving problems or preventing problems. All of these are hints to opportunities for business. Ideas and opportunities. It's all about ideas from our observations of events and things happening around us, and the use of our creativity. By capitalizing on the ideas, we are creating opportunities. Trading and distribution. Trading or marketing of products are many and varied. The opportunities include direct marketing and selling of all kinds of products, clothing and fashion wear, cookies and snack foods, furniture and electronics, home decor shop, industrial motors and spares, mini market operations, and wallpaper and home products. In the manufacturing sector, there are some ideas and opportunities which include baby clothing and scarves, cookies and ice cream, children furniture, consumer electronics, educational toys, frozen foods, handicraft items, and jewelry and accessories. Other types of businesses. There are many other types of businesses, including agricultural production and providing services. Agricultural opportunities include fish farming, ground nuts growing, livestock and animal husbandry, growing medicinal herbs, nursery for plants, organic vegetable farming, rearing organic poultry and organic egg production, specialty crops, for example, vanilla planting, and pressing fresh fruits and juices. Other services. Similarly, there are immense opportunities, and these include auto care services, child care services, celebration planning, ecotourism, headhunting service, pet care and hospitality, pool maintenance, security and surveillance, and training of special skills like car repairing. Choosing a business. In choosing a business, consider your personal individual abilities, attitude, and other capabilities. Some considerations include personal knowledge and skills, for example, internet skills, possession of a high level of interest such as a gardening hobby, possession of creativity and resourcefulness as in handiwork design, availability of capital funds, or having access to capital, availability of time and skills to manage the business, and availability of some unique assets such a piece of land or a fish pond. The twin roles of a business. A business plays two roles, as a producer as in manufacturing or making a product, and selling the product or a service. So the new entrepreneur will decide if he or she wants to be just a producer or maker of a product, or just as a seller of the products, or would rather do both making and selling. Of course, doing both usually makes more profit. So in simple terms, the options are: make and sell. Make and outsource selling to someone else, or just sell and outsource the production to the producer or maker of the product. Making it on your own. So there are opportunities for self-employment, and some of these may be the beginning of a sustainable business. One can either provide a service with his or her own abilities, knowledge, or skills, and then make it bigger by employing other people or using equipment. One can also make a product using resources available like a piece of idle land or getting some modest capital to do manufacturing activities like making dresses for the clothing retailers. Here are some specific opportunities. Providing services such as accounting and tax service for nearby businesses, car wash and home cleaning, electrical repairs, garden maintenance, nail polish and skin care, motor vehicle services, tuition for school kids, and private home security. Making or producing some of these, like artwork, example painting and sculptures, packed breakfast and lunches, grow and supply flowers, herbs and vegetables, dresses, scarves, handkerchiefs, lingerie, homemade cookies, picture frames, wood-based jewelry, and maybe write a book, or make a gardening video. Understand the business environment. It is also timely now to understand a bit more of the economic cycle and the conditions affecting business generally. Some businesses are badly affected by the economic conditions while others may not be affected at all. The diagram shows that the economy goes up and comes down from time to time, mainly due to government economic policies. At stage A, the economy is recovering from a bad recession. As it recovers, it progresses to a boom at stage B when things look good, promising, and everyone spends without worry for their jobs or job security. Then stage C gets in the way when the economy crashes due to some bad global events or poor economic policies of the government. People are afraid to spend, businesses go bankrupt and unemployment rises. Finally, stage D arrives. Everyone is financially weakened, low income, no consumer spending and idle factories or empty office buildings. This stage D will be painful, and awaits government policies and better global environment to stage a recovery at stage A again. Businesses such as supermarkets and agriculture related are less affected as they deal with food and daily consumer goods. Businesses such as entertainment, upmarket restaurants, and construction are going to be badly affected at stage C and D. Economic environment assessment. The diagram here also indicates that during good times at B, every business should be doing well, except for competition. But when times are bad, some businesses go out of operations such as expensive restaurants and holidays. Food, basic education, and healthcare continue regardless of economic ups and downs. These are sometimes referred to as defensive businesses. As a new entrepreneur, you will decide when, and what is the best business to get into, given this assessment. Product demand in the economic cycle. Here is a list of businesses. Give your own comments after some thoughts, as to how these businesses would be under conditions of A, B, C and D. This exercise will assist you in understanding more of business generally. Understanding the business environment. Another aspect crucial in understanding the business environment is the product shelf life, that is, how popular will the product be over time. We understand that in a fast-changing environment, some products that are fashionable today may just be ditched for those with new designs or better features. Business people call this product life cycle, or product demand cycle. The diagram explains the emergence of a new product in the market, or at the sunrise stage. At this stage, buyers are uncertain and are not quite ready to buy. Research and development or brand building will be required to convince the buyers. Then the product gets accepted, and this is the sunshine stage. Business is good and sales is brisk. However, competitors now just swarm in, causing prices to decline and lowering profits. Before long, the product becomes old and gets into a sunset stage with declining sales and profits, sometime even losses happen. The sunset is often caused by new products, such as the color TV making black and white TV a sunset product. Similarly, greeting cards for Christmas is already sunset. Therefore, dealing with a sunset product is a poor business idea. Product life cycle. Consider the following list of products and in your view where is each of the product in the product life cycle. Try to provide a reason for your opinion. Getting organized. This segment number 3 is where your actions to establish a business begins. By now, you will have a better idea of yourself and your abilities, understand some resources that you have, and a general appreciation of business opportunities. Armed with these, it's time to move on and get things done, as a new entrepreneur. Registration of business. The first thing to do is to register your business, which is a government compliance requirement, and is necessary for you to open a bank account for the business. There are 4 general forms of registration of a business. 1. As a sole proprietorship, which is for a single owner business, or 2. As a partnership, where the number of partners is limited to a maximum of 20. 3. Then the limited liability partnership, which is a partnership with some special requirements, and 4. As a limited liability company with 50 shareholders, subject to some rules. In Australia, all businesses must be registered with the Australian Business Register, which is also the Australian Tax Office. In Malaysia, all businesses must be registered with the Companies Commission in Malaysia, SSM, for tax and other purposes. In different countries there are similar rules. Non-registration may have legal consequences including penalties. Unincorporated business. An unincorporated business is one which is a sole proprietorship, where the owner and the business is treated as one party. The business is the owner himself, and any business debts unpaid will be the legal responsibilities of the owner. There are no other parties or partners involved in an unincorporated business. Unincorporated business. As an example, all sole proprietorships and partnerships must be registered with the Companies Commission of Malaysia, CCM, under the Registration of Businesses Ordinance, 1956. Another example, in New Zealand, registration is required with the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment. A sole proprietor is not required to file its financial statements in any public registry or to publish them in any other way. The legal compliance requirements are minimal. The laws in many other countries for sole proprietorships are similar. Partnership business. Some people find comfort in partners with who they can share ideas and problems in the course of running a business. Ready for a partnership? To begin with, understand that good accounts make good friends and trusting partners. For a great partnership, do have a partnership agreement signed by all the partners, have a set of updated financial accounts regularly, and that any 2 partners to operate the partnership business bank account. Partnership business. In the case of partnerships, partners are both jointly and severally liable for the debts and obligations of the partnership, should its assets be insufficient. Formal partnership deeds may be drawn up to govern the rights and obligations of each partner, but this is not obligatory. In the event of retirement or death of an individual partner, the partnership is dissolved unless the partnership agreement specifically provides otherwise. If there is no partnership agreement, then any future disputes will be resolved in court under the partnership law. In all circumstances, do make sure the laws are complied with. In Australia there is the Partnership Act for each state, the latest being the Partnership Act 1963 for the Australian Capital Territory. In New Zealand it is the Partnership Act 1908, and in Malaysia it is the Partnership Act 1961, amended 1974. A partnership is not required to file its financial statements in any public registry or to publish them in any other way. Therefore, legal compliance requirements are minimal compared to that for limited liability companies. Draft Partnership Agreement. Here is a summary of the key content of a partnership agreement between all partners in the business. It is not necessary to have a lawyer for this, but it should be signed and stamped for legal purposes at some future date. A professional lawyer can provide some good advice, if it is not too expensive. Limited liability partnership. The conventional partnership form of business does not offer the partners protection from creditors in the event of business failure. Every partner will be personally liable for any unpaid debts. As a result, a new form of partnership has been enacted in many countries which offers limited liability protection, and this is known as the LLP, or a limited liability partnership. This is no common in the United States, UK, and in other Commonwealth countries like Malaysia and Singapore. A limited liability partnership, LLP, is a partnership in which some, or all partners, depending on the jurisdiction, have limited liabilities. It therefore can exhibit elements of partnerships and limited liability corporations. In Malaysia, all partners in a LLP have limited liabilities. A limited partner does not have any liability for debts of the partnership. The limited partner's personal assets cannot be pursued to settle the debts owed by the partnership. However, all partners will be jointly and severally responsible up to their capital contribution. In this regard, an LLP possesses characteristics of both partnerships and limited liability companies alike. Limited liability companies. An incorporated business is one where the owner is separated legally from the business. This is done by forming a limited liability company. A limited liability company, or LLC, is then fully responsible for its debts and obligations. Limited liability companies. A group of persons can form a limited liability company to operate a business. A partnership of more than 20 must become a LLP or a limited company. The key features of a limited liability company are: limited liability of the owners who are issued shares, and there is perpetual succession of the company. A limited company can be a private limited company with a maximum of 50 shareholders or a public limited company with no maximum shareholders. Licenses and permits. Different businesses may have legal requirements such as registration with the tax department is compulsory, city council license for advertisement and use of building premises, manufacturing license from the Department of Trade and Industry, import license from customs for imported products, example, wines or cars, registration with the Department of Labor for employment of workers, Human Resource Department registration for approved training providers with the Labor Ministry, tour operator's license, and product licenses from Ministry of Health for cosmetics, health foods, and drugs. Setting up the new office. The purpose of an office is to serve as a communication center, center for control of business records, and establishing credibility of the business. Content of the office is about its functionality, with the communication system, comprising the telecommunication structure, and basic equipment and furniture. Setup options are available such as own office, a standalone setup, shared office or subletting, or a serviced office, operated by a master tenant. The location of the new office is influenced by purpose and size of the intended business, ease of access by staff and customers or suppliers, then the ease of hiring staff, affordable costs and terms of tenancy, and availability of services such as banking, post office, and printing services. Shop office home option. The decision of whether to have a shop depends on a number of things. Sometimes an office will do without a shop, otherwise a shop can serve as an office too. Shop or office, so consider the nature of business, need to serve customers, and need to have merchandise display. Then storage for products, equipment, and staff seating, and also license requirements. Home office is good because of minimum costs and time saved from traveling, great convenience, however poor image projection, and it demands personal discipline and control of distraction. Staffing strategies. Staffing is a major expense and it has legal implications. Aside from salaries, staffing costs also include EPF, Employees Provident Fund, SOCSO or Social Security cover, and HRDF levies, that is Human Resource Development Fund contributions. There are also issues of discipline, efficiency, and costs. Staffing solutions may be by hiring full-time staff, part-time staff, or outsourced work. With the access through the World Wide Web, it is now convenient to source work and skills from freelance workers. This represents a pool of expertise from accounting and brochure design services to website building and emailing work. This also includes legal advice and other business learning. Getting outsourced work in this way is cheaper, but also remember that sometimes the quality of work can be bad, so be selective and do not be overconfident on using these freelancers the first time. Employing staff. Firstly, develop an overview of the business and its operations, identify staffing need by examining key tasks and duties, then develop a job description for each staff position. Also develop a simple staff-cum-office policy which includes work attendance, overtime, and official hours, safety and security procedures for the office, bookkeeping and petty cash records, issue of sales invoices and receipts to customers, keeping and filing banking records, and keeping and filing suppliers' invoices and delivery notes, and also banking and checking for customers' payment. Try not to employ fixed salaried staff as the costs go up regardless of business, especially in the early startup stage. Commissioned staff is good as they are paid as they do work or bring in new business.
Finance and planning. Financial planning is in segment 4. Understanding the required resource is important so that the problems of running a new business is minimized as much as possible. This will enable more attention to be given to building customers and create markets for your goods and services. Business planning. Business planning begins with an understanding of the business and the key activities. There are 4 key sets of activities, beginning with purchase of materials, then converting that into finished goods, then storing them while selling activities go on. Finally, upon sales being made, there is collection of money from the buyers. Each of these steps takes some time, and the total time taken is called the operation business cycle. This also shows you how long does your cash returns after making the sales. If the entire process is slow, then the cash returns will be slow. Business planning. In this simple illustration of a dried fish factory, the first step is to use the cash available to buy raw materials from the fish market. However, if the fish is special, then there may be a waiting time to get the required fish from another place, and it may take, say, 15 days. Then the fish is dried and cured before it becomes the final saleable product. Let's say it takes another 15 days. When the dried fish is produced, it may be stored away while selling to local stores and consumers goes on. It may be another 30 days before all the fish are sold. If it is sold to local consumers, it may be for cash, and there is no collection time. The total time taken for the cash to return is then 60 days. But if the dried fish is sold to a local food store on a 30-day collection terms, then the time taken for the cash to return becomes 90 days. This is a simplified plan of a spreadsheet to show the goods to be made and sold for the first 3 months. This is also used if you are selling a service, just as illustrated. Every business person has some idea of the amount of business he or she would expect or can target for. The business person would have make a calculation or an estimate after making observations, talking to people, neighbors, and friends. These estimates become part of the initial plans, sometimes achievable, sometimes not, but it is important as a plan for moving forward rather than going around aimlessly. Here is a basic template that can be adapted to the initial planning for your new startup business. Sources of funding. The next important thing most people would need to consider is the amount of financing or funding for the new venture. The common sources of funding are total capital from personal sources and partners. Next comes bank loans and suppliers' credit from suppliers that you know. Capital can be raised from own or family savings, or as partnership capital from other partners, or venture capital from a rich investor wishing to support, and crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is a new method of raising funds from the internet using some platforms such as Kickstarter. Loans and their sources include commercial banks, leasing companies for equipment, cooperative societies, and government agencies. In many countries there are government agencies providing various types of support to encourage entrepreneurship. It will be helpful by talking to some of them. For example, in Malaysia, there is the CGC or Credit Guarantee Corporation. This is an initiative to help businesses that needed loans but have no collateral, and the CGC then provides the guarantee to the lending bank subject to its assessment of that business applying for loan. Similarly, there is the Small and Medium Enterprise Bank, and in Malaysia it is the SME Bank. Financing structure of a tour operator. As mentioned, there are many types of businesses one can consider. Let's have an illustration of a local tour bus operator who needed funding to operate his tour services business. Firstly, he will need to purchase 1 or 2 buses costing 500,000 in local currency. He may have to hold another 150,000 as cash for payment of expenses such as office rent, commissions to agents, and for bus maintenance and operating costs. From this understanding we can see the funding requirement and where the funds can come from. For example, capital of 250,000 as long-term funds and leasing of 400,000 as long-term financing the buses. As a result, the tour business will have tour buses as fixed assets of 500,000 and cash of 150,000 for expenses. Financing illustration. A supermarket or grocery, on the other hand, requires a large range of food and consumer goods items. All of these are fast-selling items such as milk, canned food, beverages, and fresh food. As a result, there is a pool of everyday cash. Meantime, the suppliers for these items are many but their amounts are not large. These suppliers provide the inventories for sale. That means the supermarket does not need to borrow from the bank. At the same time, a supermarket, unlike a factory, does not need a lot of investment in plant and buildings. If required, the supermarket premises can be rented. Financing as illustrated is made up of capital 100,000 as long-term funds, and suppliers 200,000 as short-term credit. The funds are then employed for equipment, long-term stocks or inventories, and cash to pay suppliers. Applying for a business loan. A loan is a temporary financing and it has to be repaid. A grant, on the other hand, is at the discretion of the provider but is not repayable. The lender of a loan, usually a bank, must be convinced that the loan is for good use and the borrower has the potential to repay. The loan application must provide that confidence, that the loan money is for good use, and the potential to repay is visible. The loan application. If the new entrepreneur is seeking a loan, he or she will have to prepare a loan submission, to accompany the loan application form that the bank will provide. The loan submission should have sufficient information for the bank to decide on its approval. The list of things expected to be most business loan applications are indicated here. The forecast cash flow. Among the key information that the lending bank would require is the forecast cash flow. It is a simple set of numbers showing the expected expenses over the next 6 or 12 months and also expected cash collection from sales. The bottom of the forecast cash flow is the expected bank or cash balance over each of the months in the forecast. The bank will be looking at the surplus cash for the repayment of its loan. The forecast income and expenses statement. In the similar way, a forecast income and expenses statement will be required for the next 6 or 12 months. This will show how profitable the new business will be. Segment 5 here covers the important aspects of marketing and selling of products and services for the new business venture. Market assessment. Market assessment for a big business is by its research department and analysis, but for a small business, the entrepreneur uses his or her observation and thinking. For your intended products and services, just consider who and where are the target customers, what the customers really need, what is the size of the market, who are the competitors and what do they sell. Marketing and awareness is essential so that your target customers know of your business and its offerings. There are many ways to do this, but some methods cost more money than others. In today's environment, using the internet and social media can be as effective at an affordable cost to a new business venture. Advertising is meant for building consumer awareness and can be through the website and the internet, print media, word of mouth, and the social media like Facebook. Advertising content should include features of your products and services, special offers and value, and what your competitors cannot give, example special service. Website advertising is great, especially using the business's website, which is accessible to customers and visitors all the time. The business website can contain abundance of information about your company, its products and services, and how customers can purchase them. A good website is a long-term and efficient advertising investment. Selling your products and services. How to sell. This is the beginning of sales when you have to do personal selling. It can be by direct selling where you approaching customers directly, and you will need excellent skills and total preparation. Or indirect selling, where customers approach you directly, but you need very good products and excellent marketing. Learning how to sell. You must know the selling process like any new entrepreneur. Or you may not do selling, but you must know how your staff sells. The selling process begins with some homework, before calling on the customer, follow by making contact with the customer. Then conduct the selling presentation, which is product or service introduction, manage objections from the customer, and then close the sale. The above are the steps in the selling process. Initial homework. Do some homework first, identify the prospects for your products or services, in the case of consumer sales, or identify the decision maker in the case of corporate sales or selling to another business. Establish the need of the prospective buyer, then check the ability to purchase, and prepare a client calling schedule to make an appointment. Making customer contact. Contacting the customer for the first time is crucial. The key reason for making the contact with a possible customer is to pre-qualify the prospect. This is about establishing interest of the prospects in your business or product, but don't waste time when there are thousands of prospects around, so create an interest as to why the prospects should meet you. Consider that 1. If there is nothing interesting, then there is nothing for the meeting. 2. If there is something interesting, then say it creatively. And 3. Learn or prepare how to say something really nice, and creatively to get the customer interested. Passive selling. Passive selling is product selling without you selling it directly. There is a middle person who sells it for you. This middleman can be your salesman, or a shop that sells similar things. A person who makes dresses can send them to the clothing store who will sell them to customers. Or the cookie maker brings those cookies to the grocery which then sells to the buyers. The clothing store and the grocery will then pay you for the merchandise. Website advertising. Advertising is about introducing your products and services to as many consumers as possible so that people and the market are aware of your business. In today's environment, website advertising is getting popular as it has proven to be effective in terms of the wide reach and non-stop exposure through the website. In the long term, it is also much cheaper than conventional advertising methods. Website sales. In today's environment, business is increasing being done through the website with off-site delivery to the purchaser's office or home. Some services are being sold and provided online, such as web page designing and insurance sales. In many others, the website provides information and buying procedures, and the interested buyers do the follow-up purchasing, like buying the cookies or selected clothing. The sellers then have the products delivered to the purchaser's doorsteps. Doing the sales presentation. A sales presentation is the process of introducing your company and the products, and product benefits. The product benefits are what customers are really interested in. In order to present properly, the entrepreneurial salesman need to have complete product knowledge as well as watertight preparation to explain and discuss the product and its benefits or capabilities. Full knowledge without preparation is useless, while incomplete knowledge with preparation is meaningless. Doing the sales presentation. Always remember to sell the benefits, don't just sell the product. Customers always want to know what benefits, convenience, or enjoyment can they get by using the product or service. So discuss what the product can do, or how the product can bring happiness, like increase lifespan, human life, or machine durability, reduces pain and stress, saves money and time, or creates image and style. Doing the sales presentation. As another example, if you make burgers, don't sell the burger. Sell your burger, the benefits or value of your burger. What is so good about your burger? 1. It's real meat. 2. Fresh meat. 3. It's organic meat. 4. It's a self-sufficient meal. 5. As advertised, no shortchange. 6. No hidden costs, and 7. No unwanted surprises. That's how your burger is better. Customer objection. Many new salespersons are afraid of customers turning them down. This is customer objection when the customer does not want to buy. Sometimes, the customer may even ridicule the product offered. So it is important to understand this. Why the prospective customer objects? Initial objection is due to uncertain understanding. Reason 1, the customer does not understand product or service. Reason 2, the customer does not understand the salesperson. Rejection by the customer after clear understanding can be due to, reason 1, there is no interest to buy, or reason 2, there is no ability to pay. When the salesperson knows this, then it's better to save time and create some goodwill for the future, and just say thank you and leave. The next step is just to say next time then. Remember, there are many more customers you have not yet seen. One of these could be your next buyer. Customer loyalty for repeat business. Why customer loyalty matters. We are in a competitive environment and many other businesses are offering similar products and services. So a successful business is one that can make customers come back for their future purchases. If that is not the case, a business will begin to lose its customers and markets, and over time, it just fails. Is solving customer complaints customer service? A customer does not enjoy complaining, because it wastes time and energy to do that. Meanwhile, it is inconvenient to make a complaint while missing out on the benefits of a purchase. So why does a customer complain? It's because the product does not provide what it claims to do, or the customer does not get to enjoy the benefits. Otherwise, why else would a customer complain? Then solving customer complaint is not customer service, it's a duty to correct anything that have been done wrongly or to compensate what was missing as agreed during the purchase. Customer loyalty for repeat business. How do you achieve customer loyalty? A customer is loyal only if he or she can get what the person wants, whether it is a product or a service. Next, the manner in which the customer is served makes the customer feel good or otherwise. A pleasant experience is good, but other competitors do the same too. So it will be something more than good product and good service. It must then be extraordinary service. Something that the customer does not expect. Consider challenging the competitors with service or product at the best price, service or product without flaws, or service or product given at least waiting time, and service or product as specified, and not less. Do what competitors are not doing, that will be exceptional. Segment 6 is all about control of your new business. Without understanding business, control is just like driving a car without knowing where the controls are or what are the capabilities of the car. It would also be like driving a car without understanding the dashboard indicators. This increases the risk of poor business and inability to take right decisions at the appropriate time. Financial accounts. The financial accounts of the new business or any business are the dashboard of its operations. How do you drive a car without a dashboard? The dashboard indicates the fuel and oil level, speed of the car and its engine temperature. Decisions are made on refueling, speed adjustments, and other necessary actions. Similarly, putting money into a business and not knowing what is going on inside it, is rather silly, if not risky. Without knowing what is going on, the person would not be able to make the right decisions. It is always necessary to understand those accounts and financial reports, although the business person may not necessarily do up those accounts. He or she can always get an accounts person to do that, but the new entrepreneur just need to understand what those accounting figures mean. Business control and record keeping. To begin with, consider keeping all records and organize them. Record keeping ensures sufficient information about the business for planning and protection of the business's money and investment. The business buys from suppliers and sells to customers. It needs to be assured that the rightful amounts are paid and received. It also incurs and pays expenses and needs to be sure they are necessary and payments are correct. You as a business person need not be an accounts person. You only need to be organized, then let an accounting staff do the accounting for you. So get organized and be fully aware of the business information at all times to protect your investment and your profits. Records and accounts. The accounting system. An accounting system is about capturing information regarding the transactions of the business as accurately as possible. It can be in the form of a set of paper files and records, or in the modern environment the system is computerized and driven by a software. But it is all the same with information kept to show the business progress. Missing information results in inaccurate understanding of your business and raises the risk of loss and fraud by staff, suppliers, or any other persons associated with them. Even partners can take advantage of poorly maintained accounting records. It is for this reason that the accounts are audited by an independent accountant when the accounts are in doubt, or where there are many partners in the new business. The simplified accounting system for control. The basic plan of a business control system rests on a few files to contain the documents of the business transactions, sales, purchases, and expenses, and banking information. All documents of sales, purchases, payments and receipts are collected and recorded into the journals as step 1. The computerized accounting software can do this. The simplified accounting system for control. It can begin with 4 files, 2 for cash transaction, cash sales and cash purchases, and 2 for credit transactions, all as illustrated here. Cash transactions are immediately updated in the cash book. The third file will contain sales invoices issued to customers who have not yet paid their bills. The last file is for invoices from suppliers not yet paid. As soon as these invoices are paid or received, the invoices are cancelled and removed from the original files and placed into the paid debtors or paid suppliers files. In this way there should be no confusion or missing information on sales or suppliers' payments. Your basic financial report. The monthly financial report is made up of the balance sheet and income statement, or the profit or loss account. They are different. The balance sheet shows the financial condition at the end of the period while the P&L account shows the accounting profit or loss. If the accounting information is up to date and correct, the position and financial numbers should be correct and reflective of your new business. The balance sheet shows you where have the funds gone to, that is how they have been used, and where the funds came from during the business period. Basic financial indicators, from your accounts. 3 important indicators must be understood. The gross margin shows whether your pricing has enough room to cover operating expenses before a profit. A poor price would mean there is little left to meet the OPEX. The net profit margin explains whether the margin is safe enough to meet price wars or discounting and rising costs. A low return on sales like 5% means the business can easily slip into a loss if expenses are rising or there is competitive discounting. Finally, the return on capital tells you whether your money is used profitably to get a fair return for the risk taken. If bank deposit rate is 4% per annum and the return is 3%, then it is a poor return, especially if effort and risks are taken into account. Basic financial indicators from your accounts. The next 3 indicators tell of the risk condition of your business. The first one is the level of liabilities against your own capital. A high gearing is where the liabilities are more than the equity or capital put in. There is a risk of inability to meet the liabilities. At 1.13 times equity shown here is high gearing. Next is the cash level held to meet payments. If the amount of cash held is too little, this may raise the risk of a liquidity problem and possibly early bankruptcy. At 0.12 time current liabilities it means the cash is just enough to pay suppliers 12 cents in a dollar of debt. This will scare away suppliers from giving credit terms to you. Finally, the working capital level enables the business to operate, that is, buy stocks, pay expenses, and wait for sales collection. If the working capital is insufficient, the business will become more and more reliant on suppliers, and this increases the risk of inability to make payments on time. This will push the liquidity level even lower. Business pricing practice. There are 2 common approaches to pricing your products. One is risk-based pricing while the other is cost-based. In the risk-based pricing it should be remembered that sometimes not all of the production will be sold, especially if the goods are perishable or fashion sensitive. The case of fried bananas above explains. In cost-based pricing, the entrepreneur would try to recover all the costs, operating expenses, materials, and then his profit. This also called the cost-plus method of pricing. This cost-plus method may make the products more expensive and less competitive. So the strategy is often to drive up sales volume. Business pricing practice. Next to note is the pricing mathematics. The profit margin can be calculated as a percentage of costs, or as a percentage of the selling price, which includes the profit. The above illustrates the mathematics which gives the same profit and price, but open to misinterpretation by many people. Therefore be careful when discussing the price with customers, whether it is based on selling price or based on cost. Business pricing practice. Business is always competitive. However, do not resort to cut prices to get a sale. Sometimes it can be harmful for the business. If a business has a 25% profit margin, it can go for a price discount of 5%, and make a lesser profit. It can hopefully increase its sales volume. But another business with 8% profit margin, a price cut to achieve more sales volume would be unwise. At a higher sales volume, the amount work and risk is much higher. At a higher risk level but at a lower profit margin is basically a very risky proposition. With a 5% discount, the business is vulnerable to cost increases and other risk impact. Collection and cash liquidity. Cash flow is a daily concern for a business. In general, do business on a cash basis. Selling on credit requires both more funds as well understanding the customer's honesty and reliability in meeting obligations. At the beginning of the venture, avoid giving credit terms. The example above provides a simple understanding of how to assess your collection or customer quality. At 110 days collection time, a small business would be in trouble. Similarly, as discussed earlier, the liquidity risk is illustrated by the quick assets ratio. A ratio of 0.17 times of unpaid liabilities would terrify the suppliers over possible delays. Therefore, to improve the liquidity ratio of 0.17, actions have to be taken to sell for cash and increase collection from credit customers. Basic documentation. This is the last segment on simple documentation. It is advisable that good documentation be organized and maintained to keep track of the business progress. It is even more important when it is a partnership or LLC business. Documentation also includes the accounting records already discussed. Here is a reminder and also some additional but useful ones to be included. Purpose of documentation. You can monitor your business and its progress. You can know the balance in your cash box and in the bank, identify which customers have not paid you yet, identify which suppliers have been paid, to avoid double payment, comply with licensing and tax regulations, example sales taxes, and know what business expenses and revenue you have achieved. Documentation is not paperwork, it is part of business. It covers sales invoices and receipts issued to customers, suppliers' invoices and receipts for payment made to them, bank statements and advice, or printed copies for online banking, and tax receipts for taxes paid, so that there is no double payment. Computerized documentation. Modern accounting system packages provide for most of these paperwork. A common feature of even cheaper accounting software generates invoices and update the total sales of the business to the present, and vouchers for payment of suppliers' invoices and issue of receipts for payment. For a small startup with no computer systems, a simple manual system will do. Basic documentation. The two other basic documentation are the business letterhead and sales invoice for sales made to customers. The letterhead should have your business name and registration number. For all official business, the letterhead will be used, and the sales invoice is a document to confirm a sale to a customer, and is the main document for accounting as well as for tax purposes. In today's accounting software packages, the invoices and receipts are automatically generated under the business letterhead. This helps ensure proper documentation for accounting and tax purposes. Congratulations! Well done! You completed this course on self-empowerment and entrepreneurship development, or the SEED program designed and delivered by the ANZ Institute in conjunction with Finet Associates and Irian Berhard, our Malaysian affiliate organization for human capital development. We hope you have achieved a good understanding of entrepreneurship and is now ready to develop some ideas and prepare for a new life outside employment. Congratulations, and we sincerely wish you the best in your new venture. Do keep a lookout for our ANZ Institute entrepreneur support activities from time to time. Good luck.